Ladies and gentlemen, it's time someone put a firm hand on your shoulder and kindly slapped you across the face, because you are continuously making yourself miserable, stunting your own progress, and convincing yourself that having anything less than a beaming smile on your face 24/7 is a mental illness. In short, trying to be happy is making you miserable. Most people nowadays, when asked what's the meaning of life, will say something like, the meaning of life is just to be happy. And we don't have to look far either to see people chasing this emotion in their actions, which are short-sighted, impulsive, and of the mindset of drink today for tomorrow we die. And like I said, God forbid you feel anything less than happy, 99% of people will think you have a mental health problem. Most people see happiness as the end point of life, and they imagine that when they'll be happy, everything will be fine. But as we know, happiness is about as elusive as your ex-girlfriend. Whoa! No, they need to hear it. So why is it that trying to grasp happiness is like trying to put water in an envelope? Because it seems the more you try to be happy, the less happy you'll be. And is happiness a skill that we can cultivate, or should we just give up on it? In the next few minutes, I'm going to share some conclusions that I've come to. And yes, after this video, you will be happier, regardless of my tone now.
But Lewis, I thought you said we can't increase happiness and happiness is the problem.
No, the problem is if you make it your sole focus in life. You can increase your happiness by Look, get off my bike! We're going to cover what philosophy and evolutionary psychology have to say about this topic of happiness, and then we're going to get into the 7 scientifically backed ways you can actually improve your happiness. First of all, what is happiness? The root of the word happiness comes from the Old Norse word hap, which means luck or chance. Happiness is an emotional state characterised by joy, contentment, and satisfaction. But because it's such an elusive topic, psychologists have actually scrapped the word happiness and have opted for the easier to handle term of subjective well-being, which focuses on the individual's feelings about their current life. Feelings. Emotions. Oh. Subjective well-being involves 2 things. Number 1 is having a balance of emotions. Now, most of the time we feel a range of emotions, but if you feel more positive emotions than negative emotions, then technically that's seen as more of a balance of emotions, even though it's not really a balance. 2 is life satisfaction. As you guessed, this refers to how satisfied you are with every aspect of your life. Health, wealth, relationships, dog. So it seems happiness is a byproduct of our actions. Keep this in mind when we go through the steps to increase your happiness in a minute. Hold on. Because before we do that, we're going to see what philosophy and evolutionary psychology has to say about happiness. Most conversations in life come back to the old cliche of it's all about balance, which is another way of saying nothing in excess, which is what the Oracle of Delphi said in ancient Greece some 2,000 years ago. Aristotle, who was a Greek philosopher, for those of you from South London, believed happiness could be achieved through the golden mean, which is where we achieve a state of balance between 2 extremes, in this case, deficiency and excess. Aristotle also believed there are 2 types of happiness: hedonia and eudaimonia. Hedonia is happiness derived from pleasure, fulfilling your desires and doing what feels good, much like a monkey or a 2-year-old. Eudaimonia, however, is happiness derived from pursuing virtue and meaning. Now let's look at what evolutionary psychology has to say about happiness. In his book, Good Reasons for Bad Feelings, renowned evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse suggests all of our behaviour is in pursuit of a goal, and our mood adjusts in order to cope with advantageous and disadvantageous situations. Let me explain that further for those of you who failed GCSE English. Evolutionarily speaking, an advantageous situation is where a small investment results in a big payoff. For example, for our bush-dwelling ancestors, if a herd of bison started coming down the valley, an energetic pursuit would likely be worth the effort and risk for a tasty dinner. If you're a car salesman, extra effort in a boom year will pay off. In a disadvantageous situation, however, effort is likely to be wasted. For example, if no bison have been sighted in the last year, going out on an expedition to look for them would likely be a waste of energy. Trying to sell cars during an economic downturn is kind of useless. So, if your mood rises due to an advantageous situation, you can take full advantage of the opportunities at hand. But if your mood falls in response to a disadvantageous situation, you can preserve your effort and focus your mind on choosing another course of action. So, in conclusion, according to evolutionary psychology, the ability for our mood to vary gives us a survival advantage as a species, because if we were happy all of the time, we would probably waste a lot of effort or exude no effort in order to change our circumstances. In other words, the perpetually happy caveman died young. So now we've nerded out a little bit, let's organise these conclusions into the juicy details, the 7 ways to increase happiness. Point number 1 is pursue intrinsic goals and discover your purpose. When asked, most people don't have a clue what their values are, and that's no surprise when their actions show them flitting from one futile relationship to another.
Jesus.
No, they need to hear it. Positive psychology has shown we are much more likely to feel a sense of well-being when we are pursuing goals we have set for ourselves rather than pursuing goals others have set for us. Figuring out your values and living by them, I can tell you from personal experience, will add an unbounded groundedness and clarity to your life like you've never felt before. Values are like a journey with no destination. They aid you in making decisions, big and small, such as who to marry or whether you should do a workout today. And your purpose is why you think you're here on this earth, how your skills can be utilised for the utmost benefit, and what higher cause you're serving. To figure out your values, ponder these questions. Number 1, what do you want to stand for in your relationship with yourself, your health and personal growth? What is important to you about these? Number 2, what kind of person do you want to be for the people in your life? How do you want to interact with them and contribute to their lives? Number 3, how do you want the people in your life to feel when you're around? What do you want to represent in your circle of friends and family? Number 4, if you only get to live once, what impact do you want to have while you're here? And to figure out your life's purpose, do these 2 things. Number 1, write your ikigai. Number 2, imagine you're 90 years old and on your deathbed. Your great-grandchild comes up to you and says, "Grandparent, you lived a full and fulfilling life, but I have no clue what to do with my life. What should I do?" Your instinctual 1-minute response to that scenario is what you should do for the rest of your life. Thank me later.
Remove.
Point 2 is remove your expectations. Happiness equals life minus your expectations. If there's one hack I could give you throughout this whole video, it's that. In any situation, you can change it, accept it, or leave it.
What about eat it?
Often in life we see the world as a plaything, something we can bend and mould to our will. Then we grow disheartened when the world doesn't act in line with our expectations. So living life with no expectations is the easiest way to become happier. As Naval Ravikant says, don't take yourself too seriously, you're just a monkey with a plan. Number 3, choose one desire and accept it will make you unhappy. We can't not want things, but it just so happens when we want something, we emit the frequency of lack and we are unhappy until we get it. So, only cultivate one desire at a time and understand it will be the cause of your unhappiness. Number 4, reduce screen time. There are no exceptions. All screen time scrolling is linked to less happiness. The most practical thing you can do to increase your happiness is to replace all of your scrolling with real-world activities such as walking, talking to people you care about, meditating, exercising, screaming in the woods, and stop using all technology before 8 PM. Next one.
Dude. Watch this video of this moose getting hit by this car.
I don't believe you.
Sorry.
Number 5 is develop presence. You can only be as happy as your awareness in this moment. Number 6, look for the good through mental alchemy. Cultivate the art of attention by shifting your mood polarity. Emotions exist along a spectrum. So where there is happiness, there is also sadness. Where there is fear, there is also courage. In the same way as if you walked into a dark room, you wouldn't shovel out the darkness, you would just turn the light on. So don't banish the bad, look for the good and you'll find it. I warn you though, this is hard to do because it takes cognitive effort to actually look for opportunities because we have such a negativity bias as humans. Build good sleep hygiene and protect it like a yard dog. The earliest piece of mental health advice I ever got was from Jordan Peterson when I was like 17, and he said, go to sleep and wake up at the same time every single day. This is because our emotional systems are directly in tune with our circadian rhythm. Hence the groggy man-child who goes to sleep anywhere between 3 AM and 6 AM and then wakes up the next day at 1 PM is a pain to be around. So grow up and go to bed at a decent time.
Jesus, man.
Dude, again, they need to hear it. And whenever someone invites you to have a late night, be doubly cautious because you're stealing happiness from the next day. So, in conclusion, happiness is a byproduct of our actions, but in case you want to increase your happiness, pursue intrinsic goals and discover your purpose, remove your expectations, choose one desire and accept it will make you unhappy, reduce screen time, develop presence, look for the good through mental alchemy, and build good sleep hygiene and protect it like a yard dog. And don't forget, if at any period throughout your life you feel less than happy, it doesn't instantly mean you have a mental illness.
Dude, what the f?
I'm done.